Well, today we hear the story about the Jesus bringing back to life the son of the widow of Nain. It seems to be a pretty straightforward story, with the resurrection, but there's a lot going on in this story that if we don't understand Jewish customs and so on, we might miss. First of all, bringing him back to life is a lot more than simply just resurrecting him. It really has to do with the widow herself. In this time, women particularly were cared for by their husbands and sons. This woman, being a widow, had no husband, obviously, so she would have been under the care of her son. With her son being dead, if she wasn't the beneficiary of some very generous neighbors, she would probably die on the street begging. So there's, first of all, a really big social issue here in what Christ does. The second thing he does is he breaks a boundary with a Jewish issue, and that is that people who touch dead bodies or where dead bodies were, that was unclean. The men who were carrying this coffin that we hear about would have had to go through a very ritual purification process. In fact, in the book of Tobit, we hear a great story about Tobit's father buries a dead Jew and then has to go through this ritual cleansing process. So it was a very, very difficult thing. You didn't go near dead bodies, let alone touch them or touch the coffin that they were in. But Jesus, in order to make this right, in order to make a great right a social injustice, in other words, care for this woman socially, has to cross a very big boundary. He has to break a boundary by touching the casket to bring this person back to life. So, boundary crossing. Social justice is about boundary crossing. The problem we have in this world is today nobody crosses boundaries. Everybody stays behind their own line and fires volleys across them. The second thing that's interesting here is look at the reaction of the crowd. When he does this resurrection, of course, we probably would be astounded too, but the response is fear. They feared him. They looked on this in fear. Here's a man resurrecting a body. And that says a little bit too about social justice. Oftentimes, what prevents us from crossing those boundaries, from going to the other side, trying to make a difference by reaching out to people that we don't know or don't understand or don't share customs or nationalities or languages. Fear is what keeps us from doing that. And we see Christ breaking these boundaries to do good works. My brothers and sisters, we're called to cross boundaries. We're called to reach out to people we don't know or understand or agree with to try to make a difference in this world. That's the only way we do it. We can't do it from home sitting in front of a television set. We have to go out into the streets, reach out to people, and do the right thing. And if the world is going to get healed, that's how it's going to happen, by breaking boundaries.